South Africa's biggest coal miner, Exxaro Resources, has reported that its first half profit more than doubled. A surge in pricing for iron ore and coal helped the group grow its revenue by 8% to 15.1 billion, with headline earnings more than doubling to 6.8 billion. Earlier, Nompumelelo Siziba spoke to Riaan Koppeschaar, Chief Financial Officer at Exxaro.
6 months, commodity prices were very high. So our coal prices that we realized in the domestic and export markets were high. And then also we've got a stake in Sishen Iron Ore Company. So the dividend that we got from them was also pretty high. So definitely prices supportive. But where we did struggle was on volumes. On our export side, we were impacted by a poor TFR performance.
Just in terms of course, the fundamentals are great, the markets are booming and all of that, but what are some of the constraints that you've been faced with? We often hear, for example, around transport, around Transnet being able to, take the offtake that you guys have, that you want to export and so on. What are some of the challenges that you've been experiencing in the period, and what areas have you been able to control?
Yeah, so as I pointed out, on the export side, to get our coal to the port was a challenge. If you compare us to the previous half year, our exports were 2.2 million tons lower. We did also point out that the industry was in total 9 million tons lower. So that is a challenge. I think it is operational security issues on the line down to Richards Bay, as well as locomotive availability. So we are engaging very actively with Transnet to overcome these challenges to improve the export performance.
We've been hearing a lot about the commodity boom and how this has impacted the fiscus positively. Are you able to tell us what type of tax you had to pay in the period to the South African government?
So we paid income tax for the 6 months was about 600 million, and then a similar amount of royalty tax that we paid. But due to the exports that we lost, that is more than 1.5 billion rand. So potentially that could have been translated into tax that would have gone into the fiscus.
And just in terms of the dynamics, of course, the million-dollar question is, how long are we going to continue seeing a commodities boom? What's your prognosis for both iron ore and coal?
So on iron ore side, you may have seen the prices have started to retract a bit. Steel production in China is still very high, but the big swing factor in iron ore is production or supply coming to the market. And we are seeing that additional supply is coming to the market, especially from Brazil. So that may moderate the iron ore price a bit, but still for the second half, we definitely see high iron ore prices. Now on the coal side, also as a result of our constraints, also constraints in Indonesia, Australia, not being able to put all of their coal into their traditional markets, there are shortages. So definitely, I think for this year, it still bodes very well.
We know that coal is certainly not dead yet, even though it's considered to be a dirty resource and so on. But what do you see or expect in terms of growth for Exxaro going forward?
So we pointed out on the coal side, I don't think we will grow our volumes. We are busy optimizing our values, that we get more value per ton that we move. But at this point in time, volume growth is probably not something we're looking at. You're also aware we are invested in renewable energy, and over the long term, that is definitely an area that we would like to grow.